Hey YouTube, what's up? This is Boba7772 and today I'm bringing you my review on The Walking Dead issue 142, A Gathering. So without further ado, let's get started. So this issue was, it was a good issue. It just wasn't probably my favorite of the series so far. Like the last few issues, like a lot of them in a row, like maybe the last 10 in a row or something, have just been like non-stop awesome for me, like some of my favorite issues of the entire comic so far. And while this one isn't one of my favorite issues, it is not to say that it is bad by any means. Now, if I could have any complaints about this, it would probably be that we really didn't get to see the fair that much. They've been building it up for a long time, in real world time, like our time. It's been a few years, or a year or so, since they started mentioning it, I believe. It was around 127, 128. So it was a little bit disappointing that we only got like one panel of it, though it was a huge splash panel on 2 pages. But it was really good. So basically what happens in this is we start off from the last issue. They end up cutting Gregory down and Maggie starts talking about him, yada yada. We then go to Hilltop, where we see Andrea, and it pretty much focuses on Andrea for the Hilltop part of this, at least the beginning Hilltop part. And she talks to this guy named Sadiq. I believe I'm pronouncing that right. I may have gotten that completely wrong. And from this thing, it makes me think that he's probably the father of Rosita's baby, of Eugene's illegitimate son, if you would. So yeah, I guess it kind of hints at that as well. So it kind of has Andrea and him talking, and then we see Carl actually has a scene too. He's with Lydia and he's like, why are you with these people? They're awful. And then Alpha talks to Carl and you can see that she's really pretty chill with him and she's civilized, even though she's the complete opposite of civilized. But you can see that Alpha still considers him a prisoner. She flat out says it. And she is like, yeah, pretty much I want to know how your people live. And Rick's like, because of my dad. So she's like, I'm guessing that she wants to see how they survived and everything. So now she is, spoiler alert for the last panel, at the fair. Maggie and Jesus go to Hilltop. Not Hilltop, wow. Maggie and Jesus go to New Alexandria and they talk to Rick and say that Carl is gone. And then he's like, why did you only look for him for 2 days? And she goes, I've had more pressing issues. And they're like, more pressing than finding my son? And Jesus is like, Gregory tried to kill her. And he's like, I'm sorry, just things are happening. I'm going to go find Carl. So he gets up his ragtag team that includes Andrea, Michonne, and I believe Dante, maybe? I'm gonna do a double check here in the comic real quick to make sure it's Dante. But yeah, so that's pretty much the issue so far. And then we get another issue in a couple weeks. It pretty much ends up, as I said, with I can't find it. It ends up with Alpha at the fair, and it shows that the fair is outside of the wall. Yeah, it's Dante. It shows that the fair is outside of the walls, which is really interesting. And we also know that Rick wants to do this like 2 times a year, which is crazy because it looks pretty big of what they're doing, and it looks like it probably takes up a lot of resources. That was my main thing when I saw it. I was like, why are they doing this? It looks like it takes up just so many resources. They could like be saving those, but it looks like Rick is just trying to get everything back to a kind of civilization. Now, one thing I do want to talk about, an important part I think, is if we look at the description for the volume, I don't know if it's the compendium or the volume that this issue's in. It's got like 2 more issues with it. I believe it's a volume. It says unexpected enemy attacks. I think that it's at a new enemy, so that could either be the Whisperers, which we see Alpha at the end of this, so it could very well be the Whisperers, or it could be somebody completely new. Now, I'm kind of thinking that it might be the Whisperers just because we see Alpha there. However, it just doesn't seem in character for her to just attack them for absolutely no reason. Unless we see, the only thing that I can say against that is that we see Rick, Michonne, Dante, and Andrea riding to go find Carl, so they could be like, get off our land. But with Alpha, Alpha's at the fair, so she seems smart to me at least. But I don't know if we're gonna, like, if they're gonna end up meeting Alpha or like somebody else who she left in charge. However, if they aren't as chill as I believe Alpha is, I may be completely wrong on Alpha, but if they aren't as chill as her, then they could start a war, and potentially there could be a lot of casualties, especially at the fair that we have going on here, which could be potentially very interesting because a lot of people could die. It could completely wreck the civilization. Personally, I want to see these characters on the road again because they've built up so far, and I really want to see it come crashing down, see who makes it out. Really hoping Carl does. Once again, Carl is my favorite character, so yeah. But it could either be the Whisperers or it could be a complete new group of enemies, and that'd be very interesting because the Whisperers, I really want to see how their story ends. I don't think that they'll just be washed up forever, but if it is a new set of enemies, and you could just push the Whisperers to the side for a little bit and then focus on the new enemies and then get back with them. Now, I do want to remind you guys what the next 2-issue cover type things are. I'll show you the one for the next issue because it's advertised at the back of this. But then I'll kind of explain the one after that. So yeah, you can see this one, the next issue, is the one where Carl and Lydia are walking into the sunset. Really cool cover. I really like that one. Lydia has Carl's cat, and I believe it's called a union. Yeah, it doesn't check. It doesn't say. Carl and Lydia are holding hands though, and I'm pretty sure that it's called a union. And then the issue after that, it shows Rick really not looking good. So I am so excited to get through the next 2 issues because this story arc could potentially be very deadly. All in all, this was a really good issue. It wasn't one of my favorites, but it wasn't bad, really. It was just kind of, I don't want to say uneventful, because it was pretty eventful. It just, I don't know. It wasn't to my liking how the last few issues were, but it was still really good. If you want to get into the Walking Dead comics, I highly recommend picking up the compendiums, but this was a really good issue by itself, and I love the covers. The covers just keep getting so much better, and this cover is just so awesome. I don't even think it has a character who we know on it. A lot of people assume that was Negan. Negan was not even in this issue unless he really actually got out still, and he just like made a cameo on the cover, and then like in the next one of the next issues we see that he actually got free and it was him on the cover, and it's like, wow, that'd be really awesome if they did that, but I doubt they would. Anyway, I've been talking about this too much. What do you guys think about this issue? Have you read it? Put down in the comments what you think about this issue, what you think is gonna, or what do you think is gonna happen in the next couple issues? Do you think anyone's gonna die? Do you think, who do you think the new enemy is? Wow, I cannot talk today. Who do you think the new enemies are, who they've talked about in the volume thing with, I believe it's 138 through 144. So yeah, really excited to hear 139 through 130 or through 144. Wow, that was dumb. I'm really excited to hear what you guys are thinking about this. So make sure to leave a comment and everything. Thank you for watching. Please make sure to subscribe for more content in the future. And until next time, Bulbus7772 out.